Hey, what's going on guys? My name's Eric, also known as Dad Hats. Today, I want to bring you something a little bit different to the channel. I know it's Black Friday, you guys are all looking for the deals, so I quickly scoured the internet, try to find some cool stuff. Nothing super major, but as you guys know, even getting 10, 20, sometimes 30% off on some of this car stuff ends up being a lot of money back. So let's hop into it and I'll show you what I found. First thing on my list has to go to Racequip's 20% off sale. One of the best things you can do as a car guy is to attend a track day. Now, there's a handful of requirements to get on track, and one you're going to run into is getting a helmet that's certified for track use, mainly a Snell SA certification being one of them. So you'll see a lot of guys, including myself, bought a Racequip helmet, especially because there's such a great budget option, and like I said, meets all the requirements you're going to need to get out on track. I would be doing you guys a huge disservice if I didn't mention Fortunato's Black Friday sale. So of course they have 15% off all of their new 500 series coilovers, which is pretty decent in and of itself, but I think the big thing that's been making the rounds on social media is this up to 70% off scratch and dent sale. Now of course, seeing that big up to 70% off sounds great in practice, but I really wonder how many coilovers they're actually going to have at 70%, or maybe some at 50, 30, you get the idea. So if you keep digging, click on that banner and you look into it a little bit more, they do have 3 different grades of, near mint condition, brand new condition, and then used or installed quote unquote good condition. So none of these will be damaged in any sort of way. Functionality will be totally fine, from the sounds of it. Even grade 3, they just said slightly used, returns, and or used for research and development. So that's really promising. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but a couple cosmetic blemishes on something I'm never going to see, I would take that deal all day. Next up is Whiteline, who is running a 30% off site-wide sale. Now, Whiteline doesn't need any introduction, but I do want to highlight a few of their products that I know I would be interested in. First up is their sway bars. So this kit actually comes with the front and rear sway bars, and they're actually adjustable. It says here that the front sway bar is actually 2-point adjustable and that the rear is 3-point adjustable. This kit also comes with more than just the sway bars itself, comes with the end links that you might want as well. I actually had a chance to pick this up last year. I thought it was a pretty good deal. $500 for both front and rear and a couple extras, not too bad. Next up from Whiteline, we have a camber bolt kit. Since I have a BRZ, it's very important to get camber up front on these McPherson strut cars, and these seem like they allow you to get up to negative 1.5 degrees of camber, which for the track, that's not nearly enough, but some sanctioning bodies will actually penalize you if you're doing like time trial or wheel-to-wheel racing. So if you go to modify your control arm and get more camber that way, you'll get penalized. Instead, you use something like this, you get a little less camber, but you won't get hit with a penalty. Alright, last thing for Whiteline, of course we have to mention their bushings. They have all sorts of bushings, so obviously we don't have time for every single one of them. Some of the main highlights, of course, are going to be their differential inserts that are easier to install than the full bushing, and I would also mention their transmission positive shift kit. I've heard a lot of good things about this. I actually bought this last year, and for $30 can actually give you a really crisp feeling in your shifter. Next up, we have Momo. Mainly known for their steering wheels in my eyes, but they also have seats, safety equipment, gloves, that sort of thing. So Momo is running a 20% off site-wide sale, and they have some of the cleanest wheel designs that I think I've seen in a while. Really fond of this Mod 7 and Mod 8. Really like the design, but they have plenty of other options out there. Different sizes, shapes, colors, you name it. Here's a good option from one of their seats. I've never actually heard of this one, but the price point is really good, and I think it is FIA certified. So for you track guys, I know that's important. Alright, next up, I have to shout out Counterspace Garage. These guys have pretty decent sales on a bunch of different products. I'm sure if you go to the manufacturer's website, it's off there too, but this is just an easy way to kind of convey it to you guys. They have a really great tuner, Zach at Counterspace Garage, so $50 off their tuning services for a bunch of different cars, BRZ and 8.6 they're very well known for. SPL suspension is really big in the track guy world. Same with track spec vents, 20% off. Honestly, I'm thinking about taking off some of that myself. 17% off Tomei exhaust is pretty great, titanium exhaust, might as well. Swift Springs, 8%. APR Aero is 25% off, that's pretty big. They also have 15% off anti-gravity batteries. I actually run one in my car and absolutely love it, so definitely vouch for anti-gravity. Apex wheels, can't forget about them, 15% off. 20% off of Costco. And the list just keeps going. AP Racing, Olin's, Koyo radiators, 10% off Bride seats. Yeah, but definitely check out Counter Space Garage. They have tons of good sales, and I know a lot of you BRZ guys are already on there. But yeah, definitely go check them out. Next up, I have to mention GoPros. Every year, GoPros go on sale, and they're great. I have myself, for my videos, I use a GoPro Hero 8, and it's been fantastic. I've had it for like 2 years. Even a Hero 9 is $200, so that's pretty solid at Best Buy. If you go to GoPro site, if you want the Hero 10, $250. Hero 11 is now $300. So basically, it's an extra $50 every time you go up a level. Honestly, most of these GoPro cameras are pretty much the same. Maybe between the GoPro Hero 8 and the 12, I'm sure there's a big difference, but individually from year to year, I think it's more important to just get one, start filming some of the stuff you love, get out there, make some videos, have some fun with your buddies, and yeah, maybe if you're going on track, it's definitely great to have a GoPro to kind of film that, post on social media, and have a good time. So next up, we have Fanatec, and if you guys aren't familiar with that name, that's probably because you're not into sim racing yet, and you probably should be. One of the big sales that they have going on is their Podium Wheelbase DD2. Now, this wheelbase doesn't include a wheel itself, so it is just the wheelbase, and it's retailing for $800 when it usually is retailing for $1,500. This wheelbase has been around for a long time, but it's really high power, and yeah, for half off, could be a good deal if you actually have that kind of money. Now, more towards the budget-oriented side of things, they actually have their CSL Elite pedals that are only $200 when they usually are $300. These came out maybe a year or so ago. My buddy actually picked them up, I think for retailing at $300 maybe a couple months ago, so he kind of got the short end of the stick there. But these are a really good set of pedals at a really affordable price. So something else as we scroll down is their Club Sport Shifter. This is another product that's been on the market for years and years, but that's a pretty significant price difference. As you can see, $160 is pretty good value. I have this shifter and I absolutely love it. Moving on, another set of pedals. This one is actually the one I have, retailing for $500. It slashed it by $200, and you obviously get the pedals and then a couple of things to modify it. This basically stiffens the pedal, and you can kind of customize how stiff the pedal is depending on these colors and the combinations you use. So pretty cool. Now that you have all your hardware picked out, you need a place to mount that. So you're going to need a cockpit or a sim rig. One of the cheaper options that I stumbled across was a GTR Simulator GTA Model Racing Simulator. I assume the name's like that because it's Chinese, especially looking at the price tag. This is dirt cheap, and you're never going to see cheaper for a cockpit like this. That's $380 with 20% off for their Black Friday sale. So if you're on a really tight budget, something like this might work wonders, honestly. Now, if you're looking for something a little bit more reputable, you should really check out Six Sigma Sim Racing. For their Black Friday sale, they're running 10% off site-wide, and this is actually the brand that I went with for my personal sim rig. Alright, continuing with our theme of sim racing, now that you have your sim racing hardware, we can go to some of the games and the software side of things. Assetto Corsa was the first sim I ever started with, and the reason is because it's so damn cheap. $4, it's never going to get any cheaper than that. Yes, this sim is very old, released back in 2014, but it still really holds up, and it still has plenty of mods that you can download that make it very fresh and fun. Another great option would be Assetto Corsa Competizione. I haven't played too much of ACC, but a lot of people do enjoy it. It's the newer version of Assetto Corsa. There's no mods or anything like that, but it's basically lots of GT car racing, and again, still very affordable price point, coming in at $12. So to contrast the $4 that you're going to spend with Assetto Corsa, we have iRacing. So of course, iRacing is much more expensive than what you're going to spend at, Assetto Corsa or ACC, but they do have a pretty solid sale going on. that new users can actually sign up for 50% off. I took advantage of this last year, and I actually enjoy it much more than Assetto Corsa and Assetto Corsa Competizione, but I drive in real life and I'm willing to pay a little bit extra for that realism. The main difference between iRacing, in my opinion, is that the braking is much more realistic, and Assetto Corsa has some curb physics issues where they kind of get really slick for like no reason, so didn't enjoy that. And iRacing does have laser scan tracks, which is a big advantage if you're going to drive there in real life. Alright guys, that's all I have for you today. I try to keep pretty concise, keep the list kind of small, but I'm sure I missed a bunch of stuff. Definitely let me know in the comments down below. What did I miss out on? What did you guys find helpful? Let's help each other out. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Take care.